This morning, soon-to-be President Donald Trump is headed to office for the second time. We look at the inauguration proceedings, who will be there and who will sit it out. Plus, we hear from those protesting against the incoming administration and what they have planned for today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3. Now this morning on a Monday, a very busy Monday with the federal holiday and the inauguration. Here's a live look at Washington, D.C. this morning. That's where the presidential inauguration is happening this morning. The nation's capital is feeling chilly temperatures this morning, and we'll tell you in just a bit what that means for the plans over there this morning. However, we're obviously feeling very cold here too. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Jacob, we're just feeling it. This hurts. This hurts real bad.
Yeah, our entire area below zero right now. Looking across Dane County, -5 in Madison, -6 in Sauk City. So temperatures, these are the actual temperatures. These aren't the wind chills. They are below zero, and in the central portion of the state, they're actually in the negative teens. -10 in the Dells, -13 in Camp Douglas. Now the good news is that we're not really seeing a lot of wind, at least right now, but there are a few areas with some minor wind, and just a little bit of that wind can cause very cold wind chills. Now, although it says the wind chill is -5, just a little bit of breeze can make that feel like -15 to -20. And as you see, Monroe and Janesville only had wind speeds around 10 miles per hour, but because of the cold temperatures, the wind chills are in the -20s. Now, with that in mind, the winds are expected to pick up throughout the day, and the temperatures, they're not going to rise all that much. So the wind chills are going to continue to be well below zero. Here's a look at the forecasted highs across our area. They're going to struggle to get above zero. Some areas may not get above zero, as we'll see sunshine early with some clouds developing late, but the clouds aren't really the story. It's those temperatures, and we're going to continue to see cold temperatures, even colder tonight. I'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later.
Jacob, thank you. And stay on top of the alert day conditions by downloading the free First Warn Weather app. You can find that in your app store. Now, again, let's take a live look at the U.S. Capitol this morning. That's where the second inauguration for soon-to-be President Donald Trump will take place. While the back end of the Capitol is normally where the ceremony takes place, that won't be the case this time. The nation's capital, as we've mentioned, is experiencing extreme cold temperatures just like us here, so the ceremony is being moved indoors. Law enforcement says more than 200,000 people have tickets to see the inauguration. They expect that not all of them will be able to watch from the indoor viewing party set up, but some attendees say they would be willing to brave the chills.
Well, I think people should be able to make their own decisions. They should dress warmly to come out because it's a historical event, and it should be outside, I would think.
I would stand in the 5-degree weather in order to support what he's going to do, what he did in the past, and what he's going to do in the future. So it's worth the drive up from Texas. It's worth standing in the cold. It's worth supporting what we know is going on.
It's the first time an inauguration happens indoors since 1985. Coincidentally, that was also for a second term for former President Ronald Reagan. And here's what's planned for the ceremony. It's scheduled to begin this morning at 10:30 our time with musical performances. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh will swear in Vice President J.D. Vance. Then at or before 11, Chief Justice John Roberts will give the oath of office to Donald Trump. If the oath happens before 11, Trump will still not become president until that time. After another musical performance, Trump will then give his inaugural address. The inauguration is set to include some notable attendees. All 4 other living presidents will be there. Several tech CEOs are also expected to attend. They include Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, and Tesla's Elon Musk. Musk, of course, is leading the incoming administration's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Several foreign leaders will also attend. They include the Argentine president and Italian prime minister. Conversely, several notable names will not be at the inauguration. They include former First Lady Michelle Obama and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They have not given a reason for their absence. Wisconsin Democrats in the House have said they will not attend. Both Mark Pocan and Gwen Moore plan to be in their home state today. Several high-profile names in music will be performing at the inauguration today. Country singer Carrie Underwood will perform America the Beautiful. Opera singer Christopher Macchio will sing the national anthem at the end of the ceremony, and singer Lee Greenwood will also perform. Several other names will be performing at the celebration events happening after the inauguration. Meanwhile, protests against the incoming administration continue. Here's a live look at the Washington Monument this morning. That's where tens of thousands of people are expected to protest. The organization Answer Coalition says it's protesting against U.S. involvement in the Israel-Hamas war. They will also speak about education, immigrants, health care, labor rights, and other issues.
The start of a mass movement that can really fight back against the extreme right billionaire agenda of this country, given that they're threatening so many different sectors of society. Put real pressure on the billionaire class of this country and organize ourselves such that we can have more power in the country.
Today's protests and many others around the country are expected to be much smaller than the Women's March in 2017. And today is also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's the annual observance of the civil rights icon's birthday. His actual birthday is January 15th, but the holiday is always celebrated the third Monday of January. Thousands will use the day to volunteer with organizations and reflect on King's mission of racial equality. There are several events happening locally to honor the holiday. This morning at 8:30 is a breakfast event at the Eclipse Center in Beloit. There's another at 10 this morning at the McKenzie Family Boys and Girls Club in Sun Prairie. And tonight at 5 at the Overture Center is the 40th annual Madison and Dane County MLK Day observance. We have links to other events on channel3000.com. You just have to open the left side menu and find the events link. Let's check in now with Jacob. What's coming up?
More cold temperatures, but I'll talk more in detail about when the cold will finally come to an end, at least the bitter cold. I'll have those details coming up after the break.
And in your morning sports, we'll have highlights of the NFL playoff games.
It is officially Winter Restaurant Week in Madison. I'm Josh Butter live with a little bit of a taste. We're checking out Cadre and I'm belly up to the table this morning. That's coming up in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
We're back at 6:09. Restaurant Week is well underway in the 608, and we are giving you a little taste on News 3 Now this morning. Josh Brighter is live in Madison with one of our features of the week. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Kyra, and I hope you're hungry because we've got all the tasty goodness here on News 3 Now this morning. A Restaurant Week has officially kicked off. Last night, it's going to be running all the way through this week, and we have our first feature, as you mentioned. We're at Cadre Restaurant this morning, and I am excited for what we have in store. Evan Danellis is joining us this morning. Evan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for waking up so early. I know this is a big week for you.
My pleasure. You know, it's already shaping up to look like it's going to be a really busy week, and so no reason I shouldn't get an early start.
Busy week is good in the restaurant industry, and you've been around since 2019, late 2019. Tell us a little bit about Cadre and what inspires you here.
Yeah, Cadre was sort of an attempt at getting back to a lot of my French roots in cooking, and I think that Wisconsin and France sort of marry really well. They're latitudinally in the same general area. And so due to our robust sort of farming culture here, I wanted to create a place that did classic French food pass through the lens of Wisconsin seasonality.
And I like that because that's what makes Wisconsin so special here too, and you kind of are putting that into it. And speaking of, you've got this wonderful dish right here.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks might be like, hey, this looks a little interesting, and you got to talk about this because speaking of Wisconsin, this is special.
I think as an introduction to Cadre, I think that this particular dish speaks to sort of what we're about really well. So this is an old-fashioned creme brulee.
Yum.
So creme brulee is one of the most classic French desserts you can get. Everybody loves it. And we thought it would be fun to do a twist on it and bring it home to Wisconsin a little bit. So every component of this is also something that you would find in an old-fashioned. So there's Wollersheim brandy in the custard. We have cherry coulis. Angostura, which is the bitters that's normally in an old-fashioned, is in this meringue. And so the whole thing kind of brings it all together and gives you a little bit of something slightly exotic and something that's very home as well.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so this is just obviously one of the things that you have on your Restaurant Week menu. So you guys are going to be open all the way through Saturday this week. So folks have a bonus day here.
Yeah, and I mean, we're almost entirely booked up, fortunately, at this point. But I don't think a lot of people realize we're doing it on Saturday.
Oh, there you go.
There's still room.
And hey, and if you can't make it in this week, you guys are always available as well, too.
Absolutely, and about half of our restaurant week menu is just on our normal menu because I wanted to make sure we had things that people would want to come back for.
Love that. All right, well, Evan, thank you for a little bit of a preview of more coming up here in just a little bit, Kyrian. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's restaurant week. I actually have reservations here later today, so I'm excited to see what else is on the menu coming up a little bit later. But for everything you need to know on Restaurant Week, again, 43 restaurants taking part. We are your home for what's happening. Just go to channel3000.com.
Yeah, Josh, I also kicked off my restaurant week yesterday. So yeah, my family got out last night to one of the mini restaurants.
Did you?
Yes, so I'm excited. We're going again today to a new one. So hey, we're just rocking and rolling here.
Nice.
All right, Josh, thank you. We'll check back in.
It's a great way to get out of the house, especially this cold week.
Yes, it is. Yes, stay warm out there, folks. All right, Josh, thank you. And remember to let Josh know what inspires you in the 608. You can reach out either on social media or email us at inThe608@WISC-TV.com for a chance to be featured. Time now 6:13. 3 hostages are now free from Hamas. They handed the hostages over to the Red Cross in Gaza City. The move marks the first hostage release since a 42-day ceasefire went into effect Sunday morning. Romy Gonen, Doron Steinbrecher, and Emily Damari have been held in Gaza since they were taken from Israel on October 7th, 2023. The Israeli military confirmed that Hamas has handed 3 hostages to the International Committee for the Red Cross in Gaza. The Red Cross has told the Israeli government that the 3 hostages are in good condition. Let's switch gears here now and check in on those cold temperatures out there. Jacob, let's get up to date.
Yeah, temperatures are going to remain cold for the rest of the day into tomorrow as the alert day conditions will continue. Now, by the time we get to Wednesday, especially Wednesday afternoon, we'll see some cool temperatures, but they are going to be a lot better. And we also will see some flurries Wednesday with another chance of flurries coming as we head to the weekend. So alert day conditions are expected to continue for all of today into Tuesday, especially Tuesday morning. During this time frame, wind chills will be between -15 and -35. Right now, however, there are a few areas registered. The winds are registered at calm levels, which means that the actual temperatures are the same as the wind chills, but just a little bit of breeze will drop those wind chills down into the negative teens. And this is for all of southern Wisconsin. So as we look at the wind chill forecast, they're going to remain in the teens throughout the afternoon. The winds will pick up, but the temperatures aren't going to rise too much. So the wind chills will likely stay where they are right now for a lot of the region. Now take a look at later tonight into Tuesday morning. Wind chills could get into the -30s, which these are some of the coldest wind chills we've seen in a few years. So definitely going to be borderline dangerously cold out there, as frostbite could occur in as little as 15 to 20 minutes with these cold wind chills. Now, with the southerly winds kicking in Tuesday afternoon, temperatures aren't going to be quite as cold, at least the wind chills won't be, but they're still going to be in the negative teens, so still very, very cold during this time frame. And we'll have below zero wind chills continue into Wednesday morning, but then by Wednesday afternoon, those wind chills will be above zero, possibly into the positive teens, and then they're going to stay above zero for the foreseeable future beyond that. Like I just mentioned, we are going to see those frostbite occur possibly in as little as 15 to 20 minutes. At some points it will be around 30 minutes, but still definitely bundle up and try not to stay outside for too long if you plan on being outside, as the temperatures are going to be rather dangerous at times, especially tonight into tomorrow morning. Now, clouds will increase Tuesday evening, and then we are going to see some snowfall possible Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Just a few passing snow showers, nothing too extreme. May make roads a little bit slippery, but accumulation will max out at around a ½ inch, although we may continue to see some of these snow showers and flurries throughout the day on Wednesday, possibly even into Wednesday evening. But again, accumulation will be minimal. We may still see some slippery roads at times just because the ground is so cold, so it's not going to take a lot of snow to accumulate. Even with that, though, accumulations are only going to be around a ½ inch at most. Overall temperatures will be closer to normal for Wednesday and for the rest of the 10-day forecast, with a few small chances of snow showers, possibly lingering into Thursday and then again over the weekend.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is having yet another MVP-type season, and right now his Bucks are boiling hot. They've won 6 of their last 7 games and hosted the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday, looking for their 4th win in a row. Early on in this one, Damian Lillard looking for the 3. It's no good, but Giannis is there to put it back with authority. That's worth another look every time. Right place for the Greek Freak, who finished with 15 rebounds and 34 points, including another vicious slam just before the break, getting fancy with it, the reverse dunk, and when he's down low, just get out of the way. The Bucks had a comfortable lead late, and Lillard was locked in the 4th. He hit 3 triples in the quarter. He scored 25 on the night, and the Bucks win it 123-109. Wisconsin men's basketball's biggest strength is their depth. The team's leading scorer, John Tonje, did not score a single point for them on Saturday, and it didn't stop the Badgers from beating USC by 15. John Blackwell stepped up with 28 points to lead the squad, while Max Klesmit and Nolan Winter combined for another 31. Despite the donut from Tonje, the Badgers did not skip a beat, notching their 7th straight win, which Greg Gard says is just what good teams do.
It was, not good for him not to score, but it shows us the versatility and depth of this team and having other players step up. And, that's I think the mark of a really, really good team is when your leading scorer doesn't score and you still win going away. So it's just a credit to the unselfishness of him, that he understood he just wasn't quite his night, but it was other guys' nights. And, most importantly, it was going to be Wisconsin's night.
To the NFL, some exciting action yesterday. The Philadelphia Eagles and Zach Bond beat the Los Angeles Rams. That comes despite a whole lot of snow and a late push from the Rams. Saquon Barkley was the star, rushing for 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards on the ground. His Eagles will play the Commanders in the NFC title game. And on the AFC side, another instant classic. What a day in football. The Bills and the Ravens, the NFL's 2 top MVP candidates, going at it. But Baltimore, they just had too many costly mistakes. Josh Allen, on the other hand, had 2 rushing touchdowns, bulldozing his way to a 27-25 Buffalo win. His Bills will go on to play Kansas City a week from yesterday right here on CBS. That's your morning sports fix. Have a meaningful Monday.
Still ahead, it's a national day that we celebrate every day in Wisconsin. That's up next in our trending stories. And coming up in our next half hour, we'll tell you about a new movie combining farming and the Packers. But before we head to break, here's a look at gas prices this morning. We'll be right back. We're back at 6:23. This photo from Sherry Lee. She's sharing some of what I like to call those cotton candy clouds in the back. Got the trees, all the good stuff there.
Yeah, but no snowfall, unfortunately.
No
That's something that I would like. I know you're not a fan of the snow, but it's actually at a time hop from this time last year, and there was a lot more snow on the ground.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how it's been so cold, but it's not, there's just no snow on the ground. It feels strange.
Yes, I'm not like... against the snow, but I don't want a lot of snow, just like where it keeps us in all the time. But of course, we still got to go to work. So.
It is fun, when there is that one big snow of the year. Yeah. I always like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that eventually after the cold. Maybe.
Nothing in the forecast as of now, though.
All right, well, Sherry, thank you. Keep sending in those photos. # My News 3 Morning. Well, here's what's trending this morning. We celebrate cheese every day here in Wisconsin, but today America is celebrating all things cheesy. Today is National Cheese Lovers Day. We don't know how making of cheese all started, but the earliest record of gooey goodness dates back to 5500 BCE. Cheese has a special place in Americans' hearts and diets. This is just one of 18 other cheese-specific days honoring cheese in some form or fashion. There's National String Cheese Day in September, National Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day in April, and National Cheesecake Day is July. So lots of things cheesy. Do you have a favorite cheese?
Just, those typical cheese curds, I guess.
Just the basics?
As far as, specific cheese, I'm a big fan of Kobe Jack cheese.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a little different. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm just real basic with it, just good old, cheddar, American, whatever you want to say.
All cheese is good, though,
Yes.
let's be honest.
Well, Australian scientists have newly classified a bigger species of the Sydney funnel web spider, one of the world's deadliest, saying the new species could inject more venom. The new funnel web species has earned the nickname of Big Boy and was first discovered in the early 2000s near Newcastle, north of Sydney, Australia. The species is about 3.5 inches long. The nocturnal black arachnids are mostly active between November and April. And if this isn't giving you the creepy crawlies, I don't know what will, because, yeah, this is not it.
Yeah, I'll take the cold weather here than the summer spiders down in Australia right now. Maybe not negative 20-degree wind chills, but I'll take the winters up here if we can avoid
flying spiders
those
on your neck or
things.
something.
Flying spiders or just venomous spiders in general.
Exactly.
Now, we are going to see those temperatures start to warm up Wednesday. They'll be a little bit closer to normal, and that's going to continue through the weekend and for early next week. We actually could have a few days in the 30s. And as far as snowfall goes, just very few chances. Wednesday looks like the best chance, but we're still not expecting a lot of accumulation. Another chance over the weekend, but again, overall pretty snowless going forward still.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This morning, Inauguration Day in America, we look at the schedule of the proceedings and how Americans are feeling with the new administration coming in. Plus, remembering Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The celebrations happening in our area and what's closed on this federal holiday. Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Kyrie Lee. One thing on my mind this morning, and what's going to be on yours if you walk out the door this morning, is the cold. And it's not getting any better, it seems. So let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano, who's going to get us up to date on everything you need to know before you head out the door this morning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not going to get better, at least for today and tomorrow. Right now, we're seeing actual temperatures below zero for everybody. In fact, it's actually in the negative teens in central Wisconsin. Now, the one silver lining is the winds are pretty calm right now, so some areas the wind chills are the exact same as the actual temperatures. But some of these areas where you're seeing wind chills in the negative 20s, that's just from a light 10 to 12 mile per hour wind. And that's what we're going to see for much of the day. And the actual temperatures aren't going to rise much, so the wind chills will likely be in the negative teens for much of the area. But we're certainly not alone. Here's a look at the current wind chills across the country. Up in the negative 40s in North Dakota, 14 right now in the nation's capital for the inauguration day. So it is going to be cold there, but not quite as cold as it is here. How about further south, though? The wind chill 21 in New Orleans, 25 in Jacksonville. So these areas typically don't see temperatures this cold. And as you look at the advisories and warnings across the United States, you can see we're not alone. Freeze warnings as far south as southern Texas and northern Florida. So these are some pretty unseasonably cold temperatures for everyone. Now, coming back to our area, the actual temperatures will barely get above zero, and notice those winds are going to be around 10 to 12 miles per hour, which will create wind chills in the negative teens throughout the afternoon. Now, for later tonight, it's going to be even colder than what we've seen this morning and the last few days. So I'll talk more in detail about just how cold it will get coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Stay on top of the alert day conditions by downloading the free First Warn weather app. You can find it wherever you get your apps. Well, here's a live look at the U.S. Capitol this morning. Take a look at that site there. That's where the second inauguration of soon-to-be President Donald Trump will take place. While the back end of the Capitol is normally where the ceremony takes place, that won't be the case this time. The nation's capital is experiencing extreme cold temperatures just like us here in Wisconsin, so the ceremony is being moved indoors. Law enforcement say more than 200,000 people have tickets to see the inauguration. They expect that not all of them will be able to watch from the indoor viewing party setup, but some attendees say they would be willing to brave the chills.
Well, I think people should be able to make their own decisions. They should dress warmly to come out because it's a historical event, and it should be outside, I would think.
I would stand in the 5-degree weather in order to support what he's going to do, what he did in the past and what he's going to do in the future. So it's worth the drive up from Texas. It's worth standing in the cold. It's worth supporting what we know is going on.
It's the first time an inauguration happens indoors since 1985. Coincidentally, that was also for a second term for Ronald Reagan. And here's what's planned for the ceremony. It's scheduled to begin this morning at 10:30 our time with musical performances. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh will swear in Vice President J.D. Vance. Then, at or before 11, Chief Justice John Roberts will give the oath of office for Donald Trump. If the oath happens before 11, Trump will still not become president until that time. After another musical performance, Trump will then give his inaugural address. The inauguration is set to include some notable attendees. All 4 other living presidents will be there. Several tech CEOs are also expected to attend. They include Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, and Tesla's Elon Musk. Musk is leading the incoming administration's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Several foreign leaders will also attend. They include Argentine President Javier Milei and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Conversely, several notable names will not be at the inauguration. They include former First Lady Michelle Obama and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They have not given a reason for their absence. Wisconsin Democrats in the House have said they will not attend. Both Mark Pocan and Gwen Moore plan to be in their home state today. Several high-profile names in music will be performing at the inauguration. Country singer Carrie Underwood will perform America the Beautiful. Opera singer Christopher Macchio will sing the national anthem at the end of the ceremony. And singer Lee Greenwood will also perform. Several other names will be performing at the celebration events happening after the inauguration. Meanwhile, protests against the incoming administration continue. Let's take a live look now at the National Mall. That's where tens of thousands of people are expected to protest. The organization Answer Coalition says it's protesting against U.S. involvement in the Israel-Hamas war. They will also speak about education, immigrants, healthcare, labor rights, and other issues.
The start of a mass movement that can really fight back against the extreme right billionaire agenda of this country, given that they're threatening so many different sectors of society. Put real pressure on the billionaire class of this country and organize ourselves such that we can have more power in the country.
Today's protest and many others around the country are expected to be much smaller than the Women's March in 2017. New CBS polling shows optimism from Americans. 60% of respondents feel optimistic about the next 4 years with Trump as president. A similar amount say they disapprove of outgoing President Joe Biden's work in the last 4 years. There's also an increase in expectations on the economy this year. That's compared to how respondents view the economy now. Trump says he expects to sign dozens of executive orders today. They're expected to address the U.S.-Mexico border, energy development, federal employees, and vaccine mandates. Most presidents sign many executive orders in their first hours in office. While some are symbolic, others could carry notable weight.
Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office. Somebody said yesterday, sir, don't sign so many in one day. Let's do it over a period of weeks. I said, like hell, we're going to do it over weeks. We're going to sign them at the beginning.
Trump also plans to sign an executive order to delay the implementation of the law to ban TikTok. The app is active again in the U.S. Now to local news this morning. A 19-year-old Menasha man is in custody after allegedly setting fire to an office space belonging to U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman. Police say the man admitted to doing so in response to talks of the TikTok ban. Police say the fire happened Sunday morning at the congressman's field office in Fond du Lac. Firefighters put the flames out, and Fond du Lac Fire says no one was in the building during the fire. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's the annual observance of the civil rights icon's birthday. His actual birthday is January 15th, but the holiday is always celebrated the third Monday of January. Thousands will use the day to volunteer with organizations and reflect on King's mission of racial equality. There are several events happening here locally to honor the holiday. This morning at 8:30 is a breakfast event at the Eclipse Center in Beloit. There's another event at 10 this morning at the McKenzie Family Boys and Girls Club in Sun Prairie. And tonight at 5 at the Overture Center is the 40th annual Madison and Dane County MLK Day observance. We have links to other events on channel3000.com. Just open the left side menu and find the events link. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federal holiday, so that means many government and public services offices will be closed today. Most people in the area will not have trash or recycling picked up. If today is your collection day, crews will collect your trash and recycling tomorrow. Instead, make sure your carts are on the curb before 6:30 tomorrow morning. Also, Metro Transit will follow its Saturday schedule for most routes, and standing paratransit rides are canceled today. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you about a new movie combining farming and the Packers.
And it's going to be a cold one today as well as tomorrow. I'll talk more in detail about that coming up after the break.
Plus, it's officially winter restaurant week, and I'm belly up with both my dessert and my appetizer. Just waiting for my entree here at Cadre. We're going to see what they've got cooking up and how you can check out restaurant week for yourself. That's next, live in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back at 6:41. A Partyville teen is dead after a crash in Wyocena. Columbia County Sheriff's deputies responded to West Bush Road Sunday morning. They say the teen driver lost control, crashed into a ditch, and hit a tree. Police say speed appears to be a factor in the crash, and the driver did have a seatbelt on. First responders pronounced the 16-year-old driver dead at the scene, and the investigation is ongoing. Across the area, warming centers are opening up, including in the city of Middleton, due to bitterly cold temperatures in the forecast. So let's take a look at your screen now. The police and fire departments there will be open today despite the holiday. The other locations you see will be closed because of the holiday, but open the rest of the week. You can find more details right now on our website. That's channel3000.com. And speaking of those bitterly cold temperatures, let's check in now with Jacob. Jacob, I just don't know if you have any good news for us today.
Well, the good news is that it will come to an end eventually, but today and tomorrow we are still going to see bitterly cold temperatures as the alert day conditions continue. And then for Wednesday, it's still going to be kind of labeled as cool, but it will be better compared to today and tomorrow. We also have a few flurries in the forecast for Wednesday and then again over the weekend, but accumulation will be minimal. So for the alert day conditions, we're expecting wind chills from the negative teens all the way down to the negative 30s at times for about the next 48 hours still. This is for all of southern Wisconsin with a cold weather advisory in effect for our entire area until midnight. However, for midnight to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, there's an extreme cold warning as we are going to see wind chills drop into the negative 30s. So let's take a look at the wind chill forecast. Once again, negative teens for this afternoon. The winds are going to pick up throughout the day, but the temperatures aren't really going to increase, so the wind chills are going to stay very cold. And as we get towards the overnight hours, negative 30s are in the forecast for Tuesday morning, so it is going to be dangerously cold out there. Frostbite could occur in as little as 15 minutes when wind chills are this cold. Now, as we get towards Tuesday afternoon, at this point, the winds will be out of the south, which will bring in some warmer air, but it's still going to be very cold throughout the day on Tuesday. And into Wednesday morning, we're still going to see those wind chills below zero, and then finally, it'll rise above zero into the positive teens by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon and evening. Now, we also are going to see a chance of snow on Wednesday. So Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be clear, but then we'll see the clouds increase Tuesday evening into the overnight hours, and then we'll see some passing snow showers into Wednesday morning. Could see about a ½ inch of snow. It won't take a lot of snowfall to create accumulation considering how cold the ground is. But still, even with that, we're not expecting a lot. May see some slippery roads at times as we'll see that snowfall continue into the evening. Just some on and off light snow showers, but that will be just about it. The big story by Wednesday is those temperatures. Highs will then be in the 20s. That's going to continue for Friday. And then as we get towards the weekend, we're actually going to see highs in the upper 20s, maybe even lower 30s at times. And then for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, highs could be in the middle 30s. But beyond Wednesday, the snow chances are very minimal. So although we're not going to be quite as cold, we're still not expecting much in the form of snowfall. So we're going to continue to see very dry conditions.
All right, Jacob, thank you so much for that update this morning. Let's switch gears here now. Restaurant Week is underway in the 608, and we are giving you a little taste right now on News 3 Now this morning. Josh Sprider is live in Madison with one of our features of the week. Josh, what you got cooking for us?
Hey, we've got a great feature for you. We're at Cadre Restaurant. Had to do that dramatic entrance through the door of the kitchen. Evan Danellis is joining us. Evan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Happy Restaurant Week.
Yeah.
This is such an exciting time for you guys, and you guys have a great menu that you're cooking up this week, and you got a couple examples for us here.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. So we already showed off the creme brulee earlier.
Yep.
Our old-fashioned creme brulee, which is always on our menu, and I like to highlight as sort of very in line with what we do. Right here is a salad that'll be on our menu for Restaurant Week and is often on our menu as well. And this is a play on a Lyonnaise salad.
Ooh.
So for this Restaurant Week, we're sort of showing off the region of Savoie at Cadre. And a Lyonnaise salad is usually a bitter green, like an endive. We're using, classically it has bacon. We're doing smoked Black King oyster mushrooms from Vitruvian Farms. Shout out to Tommy and Sean. with a Dijon vinaigrette, and then topped with a poached egg.
I love your guys' mission here because French inspired but Wisconsin made, and I think that's what makes you guys really, really special for Madison.
Yeah, I thank you. I agree. I think it's really neat to sort of reimagine a lot of old world dishes through the lens of Wisconsin seasonality.
That's so cool. And Restaurant Week, this is a great time for folks to come out and try something new, right? This is what you guys are all
Absolutely.
about.
Restaurant Week is all about getting out there and checking out places that you've never been before and seeing what they're about. And so we're hoping this brings us a lot of new faces.
So tell us about your space here, because this is also a beautiful, quaint space too.
Oh, thank you. So we wanted this to look sort of as French farmhouse as possible, you know? People have this tendency to think of French food as sort of uppity, and like haute cuisine is sort of responsible for that. But the vast majority of France is lovingly made, simple food put together with a whole lot of thought. And we wanted it to be like approachable, but still also a space that you could dress up for as well. And sometimes that's a tough line to walk, but I think we pulled it off pretty well here.
I think you have. Yeah, it makes for a perfect date night. And I know reservations are filling up for you guys this week. You guys are going to be open through Saturday, though.
Yes.
So if you want to get in, make those reservations.
Yeah, since we're closed on Sunday, we figured why not add another day.
I love
Restaurant
it.
Week.
You guys are exciting the fun a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what's your plea for folks this week? Get out, try something new here, support local, right?
Yeah, get out, try someplace new. I mean, Restaurant Week, look for the menus that have something that you're like, ooh, I would love to try that. Because, I mean, everybody's trying to put their best foot forward during this, because it's a great way to get people out during the time of year where going outside is a little painful.
Especially today.
Yeah, get out and try something new.
Awesome. Well, Evan, thank you so much for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
I've got reservations later today, so I'm super excited to try it out. Kyron, if you want to learn more about Restaurant Week, again, happening all this week, 43 restaurants taking part, just like here at Cadre. Just go to our section of channel3000.com for everything you need to know.
I may not get to all 43, but I've already gotten to one, and I'm going to one today, so I'm well on my way here. Well on my way.
There you go.
All right, Josh, thank you. And remember to let Josh know what inspires you in the 608. You can reach out either on social media or email us at in608@WISC-TV.com for a chance to be featured. A film that recognizes farmers and Packers fans is set to appear on the big screen January 31st. Green and Gold stars Craig T. Nelson. It tells the story of a fourth-generation dairy farmer who places a bet for his beloved Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl. He does so to save his family's farm from foreclosure. The director of the film says the story was inspired by their Wisconsin ties.
We grew up in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so just over the Wisconsin border, and our grandfather was a dairy farmer. We've had cousins that we grew up around cousins farming, and just the general culture up there is very, very much home and familiar to us.
The filming took 3 weeks at various farms in Door County. Coming up in the morning sprint, new findings about doctors and healthcare costs. And before we head to break, look who's 3. Happy birthday to Sammy. And also a happy birthday to Emmett. Enjoy your day, you two. Keep sending in those photos if you have a little one turning 3 soon. We'll be right back. 6:53, time for the morning sprint. Here's a live look this morning at the U.S. Capitol. That's where the second inauguration of soon-to-be President Donald Trump will take place. It will happen indoors in the Capitol Rotunda due to extreme cold in the nation's capital. It's the first time an inauguration happened indoors since 1985. The ceremony begins at 10:30 Central. Trump will be sworn in at or before 11. TikTok is back online in the United States after the social media company took the app down late Saturday evening. While a law banning the app in the U.S. is in effect, President Joe Biden has opted not to enforce it, leaving it for the next administration. Trump has said he would sign an executive order to delay the ban of the app. TikTok CEO is expected to attend the inauguration. Today is also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's the annual observance of the civil rights icon's birthday. His actual birthday is January 15th, but the holiday is always celebrated the third Monday of January. Thousands will use the day to volunteer with organizations and reflect on King's mission of racial equality. The observance is a federal holiday and a Madison City holiday, so that means many government and public service offices will be closed today. Most people in the area will have trash and recycling picked up tomorrow instead of today. Also, Metro Transit will follow its Saturday schedule for most routes, and standing paratransit rides are canceled for today. A Partyville teen is dead after a crash in Wyocena. Columbia County Sheriff's deputies responded to West Bush Road yesterday morning. They say the teen lost control, crashed into a ditch, and hit a tree. Speed appears to be a factor in the crash, according to police. However, they said the driver did have a seatbelt on. Responders pronounced the 16-year-old driver dead at the scene. The city of Middleton is opening up warming centers this week. That's because of bitterly cold temperatures in the forecast. Take a look at your screen now. The police and fire departments will be open today despite the holiday. The other locations you see listed will be closed today for the holiday, but open the rest of the week. You can find more details on our website, channel3000.com. People in the Los Angeles area are on high alert again. Red flag warnings are in place ahead of expected gusty winds and low humidity. Meanwhile, search and rescue teams are sifting through piles of dangerous and hazardous debris. They're looking for anyone who may have been trapped under it. Over a dozen people are still missing. Who your doctor works for impacts the price you pay for health care. A study by JAMA Network found more and more doctors are working for hospitals run by private equity firms. Data showed compared to doctors working independently, prices for office visits at hospitals cost 11% more, and visits for private equity affiliated doctors were 8% higher.
And here's a final look at the 10-day forecast. Cold today and tomorrow. Highs will barely get above zero, but then they're going to rise into the 20s for Wednesday through Friday, warming up even further for the weekend and early next week, where we could see a few days in the 30s. But as far as snowfall goes, we're going to see very little of it. So throughout the day today and throughout the day tomorrow, we're going to continue to see wind chills well below zero. In the case of tomorrow morning, wind chills will be in the negative 30s. So stay safe out there and definitely bundle up if you have anywhere to go.
Yeah, stay safe, definitely. Stay with us. We'll be back with a news and weather update in 30 minutes.